My name's Martin Stowe. I'm the director of Nexus, and Nexus is an initiative at the University of Leeds. It's all about making it easier for businesses, particularly startups and SMEs, to be able to connect and work in a strategic way with the university. A big part of my role is actually engaging the university in the broader innovation ecosystem, and clearly through MIT REAP, my role has been very much around how we can further develop that innovation ecosystem. I have a corporate background. I had 17 years working for Johnson & Johnson in fairly senior R&D and strategic marketing roles, but I've also run a number of startup businesses as well. So formally, my role was academia and representing the university sector, but in reality, I could relate and I could add a lot, I think, to some of those other roles in the multi-stakeholder team as well. I think part of this is actually understanding more about innovation and entrepreneurship. And I think, part of the journey we've been on is an education journey for the whole of the team to actually say, well, what do we actually mean by innovation and entrepreneurship? And actually, how do these IDEs start really driving growth within your region? So that's something that I think all of the stakeholders and the organisations have learned tremendously. The benefit here is we now have a common vision and a common goal, and everybody's really bought into that. And I think getting to that point probably took us 6 to 9 months, the first 6 to 9 months of the programme. But actually, if we'd have tried to do that without a programme like this, it could have taken us probably 5 years or perhaps more. So it's really accelerated that level of understanding, but also accelerated the process of pulling together an agreed strategy, which we're all, if you like, pulling in the same direction.
My name is Ingvild Gjørandi, and I am currently head of section in strategy, innovation and marketing at Oslo Business School at Oslo Metropolitan University. During the Oslo region's participation in MIT REAP, I had the pleasure of being the project manager for Team Oslo. The stakeholder group defined a common goal of making the Oslo region as a leading region for innovation-driven entrepreneurship. So we really wanted to dig further into that term and really understand what is innovation-driven entrepreneurship and how can we position our region in the forefront of innovation-driven entrepreneurship. Further in the process, we saw that this goal was a bit too generic and maybe also abstract. So from there, we worked quite systematically through existing research, and we also conducted a few new analyses with the aim of really understanding our region's strengths and weaknesses and discussing these in the context of the region's ecosystem for innovation.
Eva Panetti, assistant professor in management at Parthenope University of Naples, joined MIT REAP Cohort 6 as a project manager for Team Campania. I was a student at a real class with Fiona and Phil. So I was at the MIT for doing some research in ecosystem, and then I heard about their course, and I said, wow, that's great, because I can find a way to put in practice all the theory, to find a more practical perspective to where I'm starting with theory. And so then it was at the time in which I heard about the REAP program, and I say, oh, you know what, I can use this knowledge for doing something good with my region. And I made the right call. I called Marco, the champion, and said, you know what, I think you're gonna like this program. Why don't we apply?
Yeah. I'm Marco Ferretti. I'm a former MIT Sloan School of Management alumnus, and I'm a full professor in management and strategy at Università Parthenope of Naples. I had the luck to find PhD students that you have met today, Eva. And with her, we started this program, basically. It was the first seed. My interest in innovation ecosystem was always there, also before, but I never had the chance to invest longer term in a project with Sloan. So I had the chance to invest with Eva, and she joined the IPC Center with Elizabeth Reynolds. And that was the first seed from which we started to work and think of REAP. The idea is that we have an amazing resource in the South, which are the talents. We have good, excellent universities, but we are not able to exploit because we are missing some of the REAP program items that complete an ecosystem. So the idea was to imagine how a region which is behind from an industrial point of view, from a financial point of view, I mean, in terms of investors, how could we fill a gap or imagine a strategy for a weaker region? We also try to understand what was the, which are the strengths of our region. We, as a region, we are a seashore region. We have the oldest tradition in Italy of shipping industry and shipping companies. So we targeted the shipping industry, the blue economy as a whole, because we have ship owners, we have shipbuilders, we have ship technologies located here. But our focus, industrial focus, was blue economy, but with spillovers also in other industries. The big result has been to put around the table people that are motivated and people that have converged on an idea of innovation ecosystem. So I think that's the big result.
I'm Javier Ordeñana. I'm the Dean at SPY Graduate School of Management at ESPO. We participated as Team Guayaquil for MIT REAP, Regional Entrepreneurship Acceleration Program in Cohort 6. I was the co-champion. I represent the university stakeholder, so I worked together with the other champion, which was Natalie Selly from the corporate sector. We are typically one of the top in the region and usually in the world in terms of entrepreneurial activity. But one of the issues that always strike me is one of the questions that I do is how many jobs do you expect to create in the next 5 years? And usually more than 80–90% of the entrepreneurs say, well, between 1 and 5, which is quite low for even expectations wise. It's not even what you created, but what you expect to create in the next 5 years. So that's a fact that leads to the discussion of how do we get our new businesses to be more dynamic, to grow during the years, and to increase the probability of survival of those companies. So we knew that for them to actually contribute, we had to sit them in a table and say, okay, let's think together, right? And let's do connection. I mean, many of them were very important to get access to other people that probably wouldn't be reachable just by ourselves. Each of us had our own reputation in our respective field, but the fact that we were together in one team under the very important umbrella of MIT, that gave us let's say an authority it's difficult to get otherwise. There are many other models that work with the government and private sector and university, right? That's that's, let's say, almost standard. But first of all, it's usually easier said than done, right? And second of all, I think it's very important that you include there the risk capital and the entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs are typically the species that we all talk about, but we don't want to get involved with them. So it's like we want to support them, but let's have them over there, right? So I think it's interesting that we include them in the discussion. In our case, it makes a lot of sense because entrepreneurship is part of our mission. So we are committed as a business school to promote entrepreneurship. So it really clicked and made a lot of sense. So in that way, I didn't feel that. Many times I did, but in general, I didn't feel like it was, oh, I have to do this for this project in particular, because it linked and it made so much sense with everything that we do. And actually, some of the activities that we're doing, or that we were doing for REAP, were part of already of our activities and operations in general. One of the things that we showcase as part of our commitment with entrepreneurship, because again, it's part of our mission and not for REAP. It's been in our mission for 15 years. Was the different activities that we did for REAP. It increased our presence in the business community. And though we already had an important presence, the fact that we were working together with other important actors such as the bank that's part of a team, or the corporate sector, or even the public company of the government sector. It increased our presence in terms of entrepreneurship, and I think that's very valuable for us as a business school. It increased my relationship with the business sector. That is also very important for me as a professional, as a dean of a business school. So that's, and also, I mean, I think the knowledge that I got from the faculty members, right? I think that was very valuable, and learning a lot from the school. So that was I think those are different things that I take from the program, and that I think are going to have a lasting impact in my career, and as a dean or as a faculty member, or whatever the future brings.